Hola, hola, my name is Ramon, cosmetic formulator and sunscreen fanatic, and today we're doing a life update video. I've had a lot of stuff going on in the background, I've been working on some things, and today I want to talk about it. As you know, I am based here in London, I am here for my cosmetic science program, and I'm actually here after doing a biochemistry program in the US. And I did that program and I was like, I want something more specific to formulating products, like I want to work in the skincare industry. Let me find a program, found it, moved to London for it. And now it's summer vacation and I thought, okay, well, I have this time now. What else can I be doing? What else can I be applying myself to really continue to expand my knowledge, push myself further, and really keep expanding my horizons in the skincare industry? And with that, I'm happy to say that in a couple weeks, I will be officially a licensed esthetician, or a beauty therapist as it's called here in the UK. And you're probably wondering, like, why are you doing it? Why did you choose to go and get this specific extra certification, this training? And basically what it comes down to is the fact that, again, I have that biochem background. I'm in this cosmetic science program right now. And those things really deal with the science that goes into the skincare. There's some biology involved, but primarily what that information all has taught me and what I've gotten from that is these are things that go in skincare products. Here's how to make them work well together. Here's how to give specific skin benefits and make sure that these are able to work on the skin. You're able to get the benefits you need into the skin or be as bioactive as you need them to be. But that's all very much product that goes on the skin. But what about the specific information about working with skin? That's something that I feel is very, very separate. And I've talked about this before, how you have cosmetic scientists, you have dermatologists, you have estheticians, and we all work in skincare. We all have specific expertise that we bring to the skincare industry, but the overlap is minimal. And there's a lot of things we specialize in that I feel like separates us. And I'm not about to go for like a whole dermatology residency just yet. With estheticians, what that work really involves is you are hands-on with skin. You're working on skin, you are touching skin, you are seeing skin up close and personal, and you're really getting that hands-on experience of working with clients, listening to what skin concerns are, what skin goals are, and you are in the trenches every day just using products on different clients to tackle these specific skin concerns. And that's not something you get in cosmetic science. In that field, you just make the products that estheticians and dermatologists and regular consumers want to use. I wanted to do this extra thing. I wanted to get this extra certification, this training, to get a whole different perspective, especially as a formulator, of how the products that I create can be used in different situations, whether it's in a spa or by a consumer, and for example, why someone would want to use them, what benefits or what enjoyment they might get out of those products. So what does an esthetician program entail? What does my specific esthetician program look like? So I'm based here in the UK, obviously I'm American, and so I know a bit about the system over there, but not a lot. State by state, the requirements vary. It's all based on hours of practical work that you do, or like practical application of the theory that you learn. Different states have different amount of hours that they require. Here in the UK, on the contrary, it's done a little bit differently. And so you have a full beauty therapist, and those are the people that, like a licensed esthetician, you are certified to do pretty much everything. You're doing brows, you're doing waxes, you're doing facials and massage. I didn't want to do all of that. And so specifically, I'm targeted more on facial skincare beauty therapy. So my esthetician training is basically only on like everything from like the shoulders up. With how they separate the tiers here, it's not done by hours, the cumulative hours that you study and work. It's done just by the levels that you complete and the levels that you are certified to do. So level 2 and 3, specifically in my facial skincare course, not talking about the whole extent of all beauty therapy because I don't know all that. You are basically with level 2 focusing on basic skincare facials, how to do a basic facial, steaming, extraction, that kind of stuff, massage, and skincare recommendations you can recommend to treat specific skin concerns. Level 3 is where you bring in electrotherapy. And so those are the machines that you use to give a little bit more of a specific facial treatment. We're talking high frequency. Some programs do microdermabrasion, I believe, galvanic facials. And then level 4 is the bit more of the intensive things. Those are chemical peels and laser treatments. I am completing a level 2 and 3 skincare and facial beauty therapy program, and that's what I will be completed with in a couple of weeks once everything is certified and done. Getting into it, I knew a lot of people who'd done these kind of programs back in the US, again, from back in my days of working as Sephora, all through the community of skincare influencers and creators I work with. A lot of them are estheticians in the US. So I understood and had expectations of what to expect going into it. You work with and practice amongst your classmates. So for my program specifically, for example, in the mornings we get in, we learn the practical theory for that day's lesson, whether that is specific anatomy and physiology based information, whether it's specifically talking about the body systems that are more directly related to that day's treatment training that we're going to be learning, or learning the specific in and outs of the treatments we're going to be learning and applying later on that day. And then we come back after lunch and we are hands-on working on each other. We will practice that day's facial techniques on one another, and that's how we have been practicing for the most part. And then eventually, once we are basically okayed by the instructor, we start working on actual paying clients because the school that I work at actually functions as a clinic and spa as well. One of the biggest things that caught me off guard though was the fact that day one, first day in, we just met each other. We were already going to be practicing on each other, steaming, we're extracting a little bit. You start off learning very basic facial techniques and why things work. But more so, I think what's been most important and most interesting is learning the systems of the body that play a very important role in why you do these facials, why you do these massages, why you choose certain things to attack specific skin concerns and customer wants. What's really interesting is really attaching a treatment, so whether it's electrotherapy, massage, or just basic facial like technique, to muscles, all the facial muscles, the circulatory system and the lymphatic system, which lymphatic massage was really important, I found, when it comes to a lot of the facial techniques. More superficial reason is just like it reduces puffiness and it helps to really bring down inflammation in the face. For the more standard skincare content creator, skincare consumer, we see a lot with like jade rollers and gua sha, but now we're learning the more like actual practical technique behind those practices. And then when it got into more of the electrotherapy treatments, we're talking about things like microcurrent, high frequency, galvanic facials. All of them do different things. It's a little bit more scary when it comes to like, okay, like there's actual like electricity involved and you have to remember doing certain things so that you don't like shock clients. Realistically, nothing bad's gonna happen, but anytime something like that comes up, it's like a little bit scary when you're working on people. And having done makeup and worked on clients in the past, there's specific anxiety I have around that. It's nice working on other students first, obviously, before going and touching clients. I have friends doing the full intensive length of the beauty therapy program, and that's like 6 months long. Mine is only about, I believe, 2 to 3 months. Much shorter, much simpler, and essentially it's a very summer intensive facial therapy program. So let's talk about what I'm basically taking away from this, because as I mentioned, I have science background. I'm actively here developing that and growing that as I'm here for my cosmetic science program. And now I'm getting a more hands-on facial therapy, hands-on treatment experience as well. With combining those, what is the MO? What is the end goal? And realistically, what it comes down to is, as I mentioned again, taking those two different worlds and applying them at the same time, working on clients. And as I'm familiarizing myself more with seeing different skin types, skin concerns, very hands-on, very close range, getting to talk to clients about what it is they use, what it is they want to see out of the skincare, what it is they like out of the products they use, working hands-on with different skincare as well as I work through clients, client after client. It's kind of giving me a little bit more of a specific mindset of, as a formulator, what is it I want to create? What holes are there in the market? What is it consumers, more like everyday consumer, wants out of the skincare products? Coming from the world I come in, especially as a content creator, my perspective can kind of get really skewed because I just like exploring different skincare products. I don't mind an extensive routine. I don't mind a heavy rotation of products in and out of my routine on a weekly basis, whereas the regular skincare consumer, like the average person, doesn't want all that. But realistically, they're coming to get a facial to address specific skin concerns, whether it is some fine lines and wrinkles, dehydration, pigment-related issues, more small-scale acne-related concerns. They don't want all these different products, but they want to get this treatment and be able to maintain the benefits and the effects of that treatment for as long as possible on their own as well. So really thinking about what products do I want to formulate? What products do I think are more necessary on the market? That's why I think it's really cool when I see people who already have the chemist plus esthetician background doing it, because they're creating the products that they want to see, that they actively want to use in their treatments on their clients, but also what they want to see on the market. And also just having that experience kind of sets you apart professionally. Obviously, it's one thing to be a chemist. What I've noticed though is that, especially from like the psychom community I follow, the things that I've seen, there is a very, and I don't want to say closed mind perspective, but there just seems like there's a very critical perspective about things in the skincare industry when you're only looking at what it is that is in a product, regulations, ingredients, and all these things, versus the application of beauty and cosmetics in the form of like beauty therapy, estheticianry, if you will. Because we have to remember, people don't necessarily use skincare the way that we use skincare. People want to use skincare also for fun. The fun and the enjoyment is very important, but also they want to potentially see it on a more simple basis, on a more small scale setting where it's not as complicated as some skincare creators tend to make it. As a science-based individual in the skincare community, it gets very critical at times. We're always nitpicking, vilifying, criticizing what brands are launching, what marketing's going on, what we see other creators or non-skin professionals talk about. I feel like we just put our noses in where they don't belong necessarily sometimes. Putting those two worlds together and kind of looking at it from a cosmetic formulating perspective, someone actively touching skin every day, as well as what the standard consumer wants out of their skincare and their skin benefits. Uniting those worlds together hopefully gives me a specific perspective that aids me in my cosmetic formulation journey, but also when it comes time to like either work for a brand or start my own line, which is not happening anytime soon, it will give me a specific advantage and help me see things from, again, all those different perspectives at one time. So having done this program now, nearing the finish line, what have been my most favorite and my least favorite aspects of it? And starting with my least favorites, first and foremost, I have very high anxiety when it comes to working on people. And this is carried in from my Sephora experience and doing makeup on clients. But there's just something very specific about touching other people coming in with specific expectations and you doing a treatment. And sometimes those two things don't meet in the middle where they're happy and they are getting the thing they want. Because again, with these kind of things, something you really need to clarify with clients is the fact that getting one facial isn't going to change the world. Those benefits are seen after a course of treatments, 10 treatments at times over the course of 2 or 3 months. So there's a specific anxiety around that, and also just touching someone else in that regard that makes me really anxious, especially the first couple weeks of doing it. It manifested a lot in like my hands getting really shaky and having a hard time like holding tools and stuff. That's out of the way now. I'm a lot more comfortable and I'm a lot more confident in it. Also, it is very time intensive. I don't know what I thought getting into it. I was like, I'm gonna know all this. Like, I know my skincare. Like, I know what I'm talking about. I do. That's not wrong. But there's a lot of learning, a lot of practical work application you have to do outside of just the like practicing on each other facial things. So my program, again, it's level 2 and level 3 combined, along with anatomy and physiology. And the anatomy and physiology portion, we essentially do on our own outside of class. There's work assignments for the stuff we're doing in class, as well as the extra work I'm doing for that anatomy and physiology module. It's a workload. It's definitely a lot of workload. So I'm very thankful that I'm done with my term for like my actual university right now. I have some time to dedicate to this, but taking a lot of time out of my week. It's at least 3 days that I'm doing practical work hands-on, and then all the extra days of just doing all the other things on top of content creating, which takes up a lot of time. Learning a lot, and the anatomy and physiology thing was something I really hadn't delved into yet with biochem or my cosmetic science program. There's like some basic biology functions that have overlapped substantially, but that specific like learning the muscles and the bones of the face, very different. Another major thing that I really enjoy, one of my favorite things, is the fact that I get free facials several times a week. We have to practice on each other, so that's one thing. Even though it's someone that's learning or they're practicing or they're like not 100% there yet, a free facial is a free facial, especially when their massage is involved. One of the girls, one of the ones I'm really close to, she was a massage therapist back in Spain, and so when she does those massages on me, it is everything, because massages are actually part of the whole facial process. And then one of my other favorite things, and it was one thing I noticed day one the minute I walked in the class, is that it's a very diverse group of girls. First of all, I'm the first boy, but second of all, a lot of brown and Black girls are in this class, and it always makes me happy to see individuals of color, especially women of color, making moves and making waves in the skincare industry. I think that's something I want to see a lot more of, and so when I walked in and saw predominantly brown and Black girls, I was very, very happy and excited about that, especially because we all have a very common goal. Like, we want to be representation of people like us in the industry. We want to open salons or do work that specifically caters to individuals with skin of color and really learn the intricacies and ins and outs of what that looks like. And also, 5 of us are Spanish speakers, 4 of us are Latino, which it's always interesting to find other Latino people here in the UK. It's really fun. We just get together in class and we're always just talking to each other, and our teacher just like, she lives for it. She's like, I've never had this many Spanish speakers at once. It's a lot of energy. When you go into those settings, it's always very scary and intimidating because you're meeting strangers. And again, day one, we were touching each other. We were working on each other. So that discomfort went out the window real quick. And so it's been a really cool atmosphere, like working and learning with these other girls as well. So going forward, again, I'm finishing this level 2 and 3. With that, I will be figuring out what other things are going to look like in my timeline. I have uni starting again in September. As I mentioned, that level 4 program, I want to do it. I definitely do. It's just a matter of figuring out what variation of doing that is going to look like with my schedule, with my finances, because it costs money. So you're not going to be able to book a Glow by Ramon facial just yet. Do not get your hopes up. So calm down. Basically from now, it's just basically taking the knowledge I've learned thus far, and now I'm going to reapply it back to cosmetic science, and then kind of seeing how I can continue to expand that as well. So with that, that is my life update. Glow by Ramon is about to be a licensed facial and skincare esthetician on top of cosmetic formulator. We're doing all the things here, but let me know down in the comments section what other questions you have about this program, what other things you want me to talk about about estheticianry, about beauty therapy, about the process of finding school or what I've learned or any of that. And also let me know down below as well, do you want to see more vlogs? I'm definitely trying to take a different approach and feature some different kinds of content outside of just being very informational informational. I also have things I can share with lab work I've done for my university program about what living in London is like and what that looks like on a daily basis. Let me know down in the comment section as well. Make sure you hit that subscribe button, notification bell, so that you know when I post more skincare, sunscreen, and fancy related content on my channell. Give the video a thumbs up, and thanks for watching, guys. Bye.